Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I talk about motherhood, I talk about pregnancy, we do things kind of natural, kind of hippie granola. I am on Instagram, HEYSHAYLA, and I have a podcast, HEYSHAYLA, where I interview all of those gurus about all the things. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is not your first time here, welcome back. Today, I'm going to talk about the decision about having more children. We have two children. One is 1 and one is 3. We always knew that we wanted at least 2. So I'm going to put this video out here knowing that next week I might change my mind completely. Okay? So sometimes when I make content, I feel like that's just the only thing that could ever be talked about that topic, and that's the final decision. And then the next day I'm like, you know what, I changed my mind. So the decision to have more children is there's a lot of factors. I just did a video that talked about the age gap because ours is almost exactly 2 years and I wanted it to be shorter. There are benefits to having it being longer, but I wanted to kind of like highlight the pros and cons of the 2-year age gap, which I love. So here's kind of our backstory. So we got pregnant, we had our first, and I wanted babies like 2 under 1. Like I wanted boom boom right away. My sister and I are 16 months apart. I wanted super close siblings. So there was no thought of like, are we ready? When are we going to do this? Do we want another one? We were both like, for sure 2, if not more. And we'll take it kind of one at a time. At like a year postpartum, I still hadn't got my period back. So we did night weaning, which eventually got my period back. And then we got pregnant on the first go. We actually got pregnant with twins, but at the 6-week appointment, we found out that one of them was not viable. So we had 1 sac that was empty and 1 sac with my now baby. Same thing is happening this time. I am 13 months postpartum, still haven't got my period. We dabbled with night weaning because we wanted to start trying for a third. And then they both got super sick and I was like, well, I'm gonna nurse you through the night to comfort you and whatever. There's so much to this, but I was just like, this is gonna be so hard. And I never really had a number. Like I knew at least 2, but then I also was like 5 would be fun because in my family there's like lots of cousins and lots of aunts and uncles, and I always loved that. I had friends in high school who had 5 siblings and that was amazing, and I just like liked the chaos and like the busyness of 5. I don't want 5. The most I would do is maybe 4, but like, do you feel like everyone on Instagram's having 4 kids? Like you're pregnant again? I remember feeling like that. I have a friend who just had her 4th and I remember feeling sorry for her. You're pregnant with your 4th child? Oh my gosh. When we got pregnant with our 2nd, we decided that 2 is it. We were just gonna do 2 so that we could like get back to normal life and start traveling again, and we could get back to normal life sooner, because the way we do things is so intense for the first year. Like I nurse on demand, we co-sleep. I don't put them in like any sort of daycare or preschool. We have like babysitters and stuff until they're like 1.5 years. So like for the first year, it's just I create this like super intense situation that doesn't necessarily need to be created, but I believe in the things that I'm doing. So we're finally to the year mark where like they start to kind of wander off a little bit. They're more comfortable with other people. They're not so dependent on you. They're eating solids. Like my babies never took bottles. We're getting to the point where I have a little bit more space, and this year I have like had to downsize my content and my business so much because I'm literally working on nap times. Like that's it. Focusing on YouTube, and like if I put Instagram out, cool. If I make some vlogs, cool. If I do some podcasts, cool. But like YouTube is the focus. But now that we have a nanny for the summer and we'll have daycare for both of them, daycare and preschool for them in the fall, I can like get back to podcasting and kind of like get back to doing all these things that I love doing. We're about a year postpartum, same as last time. I love having babies in the spring because you are out of the like wintertime illness. Then you like hibernate for a month and then you get to be outside. Both of my babies are born in the spring and I love it. So I'm like, that's what I want. I want all my babies in the spring. So I'm like fixed on that for some reason. So I was like, so if we're gonna try for baby number 3, we need to do it now so that they'll be born in the spring. So we started night weaning, and then like I said, they got sick, and I was like, you know what? I'm super overwhelmed. And I kind of was like, what if we just paused? Maybe pause forever. Maybe we were just done with 2. This is just gonna be hard, but I'm not doing it for the next 5 years. The next 5 years are gonna be insane. But I'm doing it for like the future of having lots and lots of kids. And I know a lot of you are like in this same boat where you're like, should we do more? Should we not do more? You have to consider your spouse. You have to consider your finances. You have to consider like infertility. You have to consider your mental health. That's kind of where mine's coming from. You have to consider the support you have. You have to consider your values. Like, do you value lots of extracurriculars and you want to make sure that your finances support that? Or do you value having a large family and doing hand-me-downs and stuff like that? Like, where are your values at? Your age, what your partner wants, your parenting choices. So like if you choose the things that I'm choosing, you might be like, okay, this might be too intense. So there's lots of like factors that go into this. For a moment, I was like, maybe we don't start trying for number 3 like we want to. And if we don't start now, in my mind, I have a whole year before we start again. And I kind of mentioned it to Seth, and he, like, when I'm like, oh, I want to have 4 kids, he's like, okay. I'm like, oh, I want to stop now. He's like, okay. So he's like very open to what will work. And so I really like that. So, but then I have to be like, okay, but what do I want now? Now I'm not just relying on what you want. Now I have to think about what I want. So then I started really thinking, like, maybe we do just need to pause. Maybe it's a forever pause. Maybe we just have 2 kids, or maybe we just wait a year or 2 or 3. But then I'm like, if I do want 4 kids, I have to make sure that I can, like, I don't get too old. There's always so many things to think about. And you can't really predict any of this. You're like, okay, well, I'll wait till next year to have a baby, and then maybe I never get pregnant. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much that is out of your control. Once we decided, okay, we're just gonna pause, I was like, I think the pause is what I need. My life, the stress, like, disappeared. And obviously there's other stresses, but like this weight was like lifted off of our shoulders. And we both independently talked about it, but like we needed to move out of this house because it's like good size for us right now, but if we were going to add more kids, this was too small. All of a sudden our house was okay. We didn't need to move. Now I can like kind of get my business rolling again before another baby came, because I didn't realize how much anxiety I had tied to having a 3rd baby. I was thinking, when they would like simultaneously, like in symphony, have these meltdowns, I was like, how am I going to do this with 3? Or like if bedtime was super hard, I'd be like, how am I going to do this with 3? Or anytime anything was difficult, I was like, how am I going to do this with 3? I just bought a minivan because we were going to have another, and now I have a minivan and I might only have 2 kids, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I have this minivan. But honestly, like, to me, it's just like the adventure van. Like, we can pack stuff in there and just go. We can invite friends along. We can all road trip together with our friends. Like, it's like an adventure van. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with the minivan. I feel good about it. I told my therapist that I feel the best when I'm in flow. So when I'm able to like focus on work and work only, and I know that the kids are okay, and I'm in that work flow state, I feel fantastic. Then when I'm done and babysitter goes home, my work is finished. Now I'm in mother flow state. And like that to me just feels so good. It feels really icky doing both 50% of the time, or like 50-50, like I'm doing work while they're watching TV or like playing. I don't like that. I want to just like, I'm not a mom right now, I'm working half a day or a couple hours or an hour, whatever. Now I'm a mom and I'm not working. And if I get an email, that can wait till tomorrow. And it just is like really nice. And when I was traveling, I felt this flow state of just like, okay, this feels right. I'm gonna go this way. This feels right. I'm gonna go this way. And everything just worked out. So once I decided like, let's pause, I felt that flow. And it was just butter. I was able to be present with these beautiful little babies, and they're 1 and they're 3, and I'm like getting teary-eyed just like, because they're just so perfect. Like, obviously they have meltdowns and hard times, but like I love just connecting with them and like seeing them grow. And I can't believe I'm getting emotional, but like I just really enjoy them right now, and it's just so much fun, and I'm not stressed about all these other things. And now we've got like a staycation for Father's Day. So we're gonna go to this like cabin in Minnesota for a couple of days. That feels great. We're gonna go to Colorado for a wedding with the 2 of them. That feels incredible. I'm planning something for February. Like, that feels great. We're like, okay, we can like get out and do things with the 2 of these. This feels manageable. It feels like, we can do it. It's like, no, we can do this. We've got this. It just feels like this super tight-knit family unit that we've got. And like, yeah, if we introduce another baby later, great. But right now, it just feels so good. And we want to be the people that can host people. We want to be the people who have time to like, my neighbor called me the other night at bedtime, and she's like, my kid just split his lip open at the park. Can you please come pick us up? And I was like, yes. Thank you for calling. I want to be the person that you call when you need help. I want to be able to, you're sick, I'm going to go to the store and get you soup and get all these things. And I don't know why it feels like 2 kids is like manageable to do that. It just feels like we have time abundance to share. We will have money abundance to share. Something to consider when having more kids is like daycare expenses, if you're paying for daycare. Or we were like, oh, maybe we could get a dog. Like, there's just so many things. Like, we can travel more. We could go do, like, I don't know. It just felt like things started to just like glide. And I'm just like so grateful that I was open to not just powering through, but like reflecting and be like, okay, what do we need? And what do we need right now? And then we'll figure out what we need later. And I'm grateful that Seth is open to it, because I know that a lot of partners have that like discussion and problem of like, I'm done, I want more, and like managing that. And then the finances, and I feel like the finances are mostly medical and daycare. When we were pregnant with Ez, Seth was like, this is our last one, because my hormones go absolutely wackadoo during pregnancy and absolutely insane postpartum. And he's like, I just want you to be happy. And I feel like this like pregnancy and postpartum hormones just make you so unhappy all over the board. And so I'm learning that I need things to look forward to, like this staycation, like the trip to Colorado, like whatever I'm planning in February. Like I need these things to look forward to. And so mental health is a huge one. I was just like, I'm just going to power through. I'm just going to power through. And we could do that and it would be fine. And we would make it through just like how we've made it through the past too. But it's just like things just feel like they're flowing. So I want to know what number you thought originally, what number you ended up with. So like maybe you wanted 2 but you had 5, or maybe you wanted 5 but you had 2, or what you're thinking currently. If you're like, man, I was thinking 3 but now I think we're just good with 2, because we wanted 2. Esme was like the easiest baby. Like she's just super chill and content. She observes, she watches things, as long as she's attached to me. So as long as she's a koala baby and just like watching from my hip, she is super chill. She needs to be on me, which is the challenge, because if I need to do anything, like it was just like, just give me a minute, kid. But she just wanted to be close to me and I had to remind myself of that. But like she was not like getting into everything. She was just like so easy. And we're like, what were we thinking? Because at that point we were like, we want 2. Babies are easy. Maybe we should have another one. Maybe we should just do this again. So that's when we were like, okay, let's have another. 3, 4. 4 seems like a good number. Let's do 4. And then like when we started to go for 3, I was like, okay, I don't know that I'm ready. I don't know that we're ready. I think we just need to enjoy this time and figure it out later. That's the plan today. My sister's like, you're literally going to change your mind tomorrow, because I've gone back and forth like this already. Like we already said, when I was pregnant 2, now we want 4, now we were back to 2, so it just goes back and forth. It just feels like we're in flow and that this is the right decision for us right now. So I challenge you to reflect on what you want and when you feel that flow. And I hope that you have it, because I know that this is a huge topic of like, how many kids are you going to have? And I've learned that you don't ask that question because sometimes people have infertility trying for their second, or sometimes people can't afford 2 kids. It can be so expensive. I think that people spend way more money than they need to on like toys and clothes and stuff like that. But that's why I think that the medical expenses and the daycare expenses are kind of like the major ones. And I don't know what activities and stuff like that, obviously that's coming. And also in my head, I feel like you need to have like 4 kids, because I've been dabbling with like the idea of homeschooling. And I feel like I need to have 4 kids to homeschool. Like I can't just homeschool 2 kids. I don't know why. And I like the idea of having like lots of kids for like the busyness and the chaos and the like the bonds that they form with between each other. But it was just me and my sister, and I freaking loved it. And my mom always said, 1 hand for each of us. Like either me with two kids, or like 1 for your dad and 1 for me, and we would go. Because we did lots of traveling, lots of trips, lots of stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, that was on purpose because we wanted 2. 1 for each hand. Done. So tell me what you think. Please like the video if this was helpful, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.